Frax is the issuer for the most important assets of the 21st century. So that's Frax the dollar stablecoin, Frax ETH, the ETH peg stablecoin, FPI, CPI peg stablecoin, soon to be FRX BTC. Whatever is the most important assets of the 21st century, Frax is the M2 issuer of those assets. And Frax is building the underlying infrastructure to support those assets. And that's exactly why Fraxtal is being built.
Welcome to the Edge Podcast. I'm DeFi Dad here with Nomadic from 4RC. Today's show spotlights the anticipated launch of Fraxtal, a new modular L2 blockchain built by Frax Finance. In this episode, our friend DeFi Dave breaks down why we're still early to Fraxtal, how it fits into the grander vision of Frax Finance, and how we might earn Fraxtal points based on FXS staking and the on-chain activity of users and dApps. But before we do, just a quick word from our sponsors who make the Edge Podcast possible. Introducing Flat Money, the first decentralized delta-neutral flatcoin built on Base with sustainable yield that's completely untethered from legacy finance. Because DeFi needs an uncensorable based unit of currency. You can mint unit with RETH, which is held in the protocol's shared liquidity pool, where it's borrowed by leveraged traders. As a leveraged trader, you can deposit your margin collateral and go long on RETH. If you're trading in the perpetual futures market, you'll pay unit holders to open leverage positions. If you're holding unit, you'll earn yield from liquidations, borrow rate, and trading fees. Preserve your purchasing power and offset your exposure to crypto market volatility. Learn more at flat.money.
Introducing the Mantle Liquid Staking Protocol, Mantle LSP, a permissionless, non-custodial ETH liquid staking protocol deployed on Ethereum L1 and governed by Mantle. With Mantle LSP, users can stake ETH to instantly receive METH, earn yield and accumulate rewards the longer you stake. METH is the value accumulating receipt token that will give you access to expanded yield opportunities. Stake and watch your yield grow with Mantle LSP.
Introducing RSWETH by SWELL Network, a native liquid restaking token that gives you access to the Eigenlayer ecosystem. Earn pearls, points, and future restaking rewards without locking your liquidity. And enjoy countless DeFi integrations for earning easy passive yield. Learn more at swellnetwork.io. For most of us, our crypto journey started with MetaMask, and now with MetaMask Portfolio, we can do so much more. MetaMask Portfolio puts you in control. Use the dashboard to see all your assets and balances across your wallets in one place. The buy feature allows us to buy crypto assets effortlessly with fiat options such as PayPal or credit card. The swap feature allows us to swap any tokens anytime by finding a selection of available rates. The bridge feature allows us to bridge between networks including Ethereum L1s and L2s based on the best price and fastest delivery time. And with the stake feature, anyone in a few clicks can stake ETH and earn rewards. Do more in Web3 your way with a safe, simple, and convenient tool that's all in one place. Track and manage your Web3 everything at metamask.io/portfolio. Introducing KelpDAO, the first liquid restaking platform for LSTs. With Kelp, anyone can deposit Steth by Lido, ETHX by Stater, or SFRX ETH by Frax, and mint a liquid restaking token called RSETH. With RSETH, you can participate in your favorite DeFi platforms and get 100% of all Eigenlayer points, plus Kelp miles. A fresh wave of restaking is here, restaking that's liquid, rewarding, and convenient. Learn more today at kelpdao.xyz/restake.
It all started so simply with CryptoKitties and Maker on Ethereum, but quickly became complex with more applications and many chains. Today, everyone agrees UX issues are the biggest blocker standing in the way of crypto adoption. Introducing Avocado. Multi-chain UX redesigned from the ground up. The first wallet to abstract networks, accounts, and gas. One gas tank to pay transaction fees on all chains in USDC. And native access to INSTADAPP's powerful, custom DeFi strategies. Avocado, one wallet to rule all chains.
All right, let's introduce our friend DeFi Dave, co-host of Flywheel DeFi and core advocate of Frax Finance. Dave, welcome to the Edge podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on. DeFi Dad, Nomadic, huge fan of the pod, so it's an honor to be here.
You recently did a podcast with Sam Kazmian all about this, and we would highly recommend folks listen to this more comprehensive overview. So check that out in our show notes if you want to hear it straight from the man, Sam. But today we're going to try to give you more of the TLDR version, the watered down version.
The left curve version.
The left curve version of what you need to know about Fraxtal. So before we do, though, Dave, do you want to just share a bit more about Flywheel DeFi and some of the work that you've been doing for the Frax ecosystem?
Yeah, of course. So Flywheel DeFi, I like to call ourselves the media and education sub-DAO of the Frax ecosystem. I use the term sub-DAO because we're in service of the main Frax DAO. It's not like the sub-DAO is actually decentralized. It's like a core group of us. But our mission is to drive adoption and education to Frax. And how we started was back when in June 2022, which feels like ancient times now, when Luna collapsed, the whole stablecoin narrative was incredibly radioactive and toxic. No one wanted to touch algo stablecoins alone. And Frax was wrapped up in the mix. And Frax was really known at that time for their known marketing. It was all just screenshots of Sam Kazemian's Telegram messages in the group chat in the main Frax Telegram group. And, it was clear that there needed to be outside help, grassroots efforts to, get the word about Frax because there's a lot going on. Frax, I like to say Frax is a fractal of DeFi. That's how the name Fraxtal came about. I was like, oh, you have all these different things that they're building, all these different primitives. And in June of 2022, we kind of got together, me, Sam McCullough, and Kit, to start. It was originally going to be called Fraxcast, actually. But at the last second, I had changed it to Flywheel. And we wanted to create a podcast that highlighted, what's going on in the Frax ecosystem, what are they building, help with education, tutorial, all that fun stuff. And then Flywheel has kind of grown to really be a substantial institution within Frax. I mean, yes, we have our main flagship pod Flywheel, which is more general, where I like to think we reach out and do public BD with other protocols, with other builders, with other commentators. We've had on, Kane Warwick, we've had on Rune from Maker, we've even had on Ansem, we've had on yourself, DeFi Dad. And we really go out of our way to be the number one cheerleaders, to be the first followers of the Frax ecosystem, because they don't really have any traditional marketing or any traditional education. So it's really us on the ground, giving updates weekly, whether it's with This Week in Frax. We have guest posts from Crypto Investor. Every 2 weeks, he has his Alpha Corner. Recently, we've been doing a lot of stuff with the Arbitrum yields, Arbitrum STIP yields, and they have been there. I can't believe people don't see these yields on Arbitrum at Frax. They're in the three figures of ARB, not just some shitcoin, of literally ARB. But we're basically there, being marketing and education for Frax. We help, we create tutorials. We host events. We're hosting events we've hosted events, at conferences all throughout last year. We're hosting stuff this year at ETH Denver. And this is a way that, I like to think how the community is taking hold of the direction of Frax and education of Frax.
Dave, I'm curious, how do you think about funding crypto media like Flywheel then?
I've thought about it a lot.
How do you guys go about this? And I'd love to, again, get more of the high level thoughts on what you think the future of this looks like, because when I look at all you guys do for Frax, I imagine you as an extension of the Frax core team. I've even wondered at times, is it just because you guys have been so involved for so long and you hold X amount of FXS, so you see the upside in doing it? So anything you can share there?
Yeah, a few things. So, we've scaled up our grant asks over time. It's not like we asked can we have 6 figures overnight? No. First of all, I would like to say a huge thank you to Piff Labs, which is an incubator that's been supporting us at Flywheel since inception. Without them, Flywheel wouldn't be possible. And in terms of the Frax side and getting Frax grants, we've been scaling up our grant asks since inception. At first, we didn't even ask for a grant. We were just doing the podcast to see how it would perform. And then and this is some advice for anybody doing DAO politics. start off like just in the community, just helping out just because you want to help out, see the goodwill, see the response you get. It's kind of like this constant A/B test. And then once we started seeing a good response, we asked for our first grant. It was like real simple. It was $18K for 3 months, and we're going to do like this. And we got the grant approved. And then a few months later, started to pick up again. We were seeing success. We widened our programming, not just at the podcast, but we also did like a Frax check to check the health of the protocol, which we still run to this day. We scaled up our grant ask from there. We went up to $60K for 6 months. So it was like $10K a month. And then we asked for our first big grant, which was at first $214K. And a lot of it has to do with conversing with stakeholders in the Frax community, setting expectations with them, showing like, and all this is like a culmination of all the work that we've done in the past. Like I said, you can't just like go in and ask for like a big amount, or you're going to get like laughed at. You got to think of people in the community kind of like as white blood cells. And like if they sniff a grift, they will attack you for it, and they will like shoot you out for it. And so it's all about like building trust and goodwill and there's different parties within the Frax community specifically. So you have like the Frax core community, of course you have like the core team, and then of course you have like Convex in C2 they've actually been like really, I have to give it to them because they've really been they're stern, but they're like very clear on their expectations. And like I've been able to like, and I got to get credit for C2 for like supporting us in the past. Granted, like recently, with our latest grant assets, you saw, like as you say, with scaling up the grant assets. So we did 214K, that passed. We did like a few other events with Frax last year. So we hosted a hackathon for Frax. We've like, we redid our website, included like a whole Frax 101 section. And so these things that got added on. And then this year we asked for our biggest grant yet. So it was up to like 370K. This was really interesting because you had a lot of people in the Frax community support, but you had like a lot of people in the Convex community, which I don't blame them because they probably don't see everything that we do for Frax on the education for Frax. They just saw us as like a podcast, and they just saw us by like our numbers, like, oh, like they haven't really grown over the past year, but they don't see all the work that we do at like events and, all the education that we do. And like, I would say this is like the system this is how Frax has evolved their marketing and education. They decided not to have anything internally. They decided not to like go like pay for anything more externally. We're kind of somewhere in the middle. And so, I've talked to like some people in like Convex. I hear them out. Like I understand where they're coming from. It's sometimes people just have like, oh, they're just like a podcast. Oh, they're just like a video. So like, I know like I'm not going to like, convince everyone, but, was able to like talk to a few people in the Convex community. It actually like ended up passing, like this is really dramatic, 25 million to 24 million votes. It overcame Convex, which was like a huge win for the Frax community. And I even like after like, at the end of the day, like we're all in the same team. Even if we're in like battling in the political arena, and I got like several words of encouragement from like people from Convex. So like they're good sports. Like I'm a huge fan of Convex, really thankful for their support, and I'm like trying to do best by them, best by the Frax community. And we have like a lot of stuff planned for Flywheel and Frax this year. First, starting off with ETH Denver.
Dave, I watched that vote pretty closely, and I thought you were like down and out there, and this was like a last second comeback. It felt like. So
I remember I was like on the beach. I'm like, man, is it? Like, oh, we had like a nice run. Like this was fun. Like, so we did our best. It like came through in the end. Like, thank you for everyone who supported us. It means a lot. It really does mean a lot, like getting that support, because if the Frax community didn't support us, like this wouldn't have passed. And like a lot of people, and this is how like Frax is like truly just centralized. It's because just because the core team wants something doesn't mean that it passes. Like I've like had plenty of proposals that like I put up and they didn't pass because the community didn't want it, or like other parties didn't want it. So, there's a lot of different parties at play, and like I'm happy that we ended up winning out there.
Just to your point about like navigating DAO politics, like you just can't come into a DAO and start doing things. It like you need time. There has to be like trust built up. Like really nobody can just walk in and just start pushing a DAO around. And it is nitty gritty. It is work to like build up that reputation.
It's a balance of back channeling and front channeling. Like you need to be in the front and in public, talking with the community, getting their support, getting the sentiment. Because if you just do like all that, people think like, oh, they're making deals behind closed doors, like this and that. If you're just doing only that and this comes out of nowhere and passes and the community is in an uproar, then does it really win? Do you really win? At the end of the day, the community feels kind of shafted. So you have to do like a balance between back channeling and, public facing. So that includes like, just showing up and being there early. Like, don't just come in like day one, like this is our proposal. Like, and always better to have like a smaller ask and scale it up over time.
Absolutely. Dave, I want to pivot into just this new evolution of Frax. And to be honest, like, I feel like sentiment on crypto Twitter is like, I feel like people are kind of missing what's happening here. And I say that because like, even myself, I feel like uneducated on kind of some of these moves that I think are bigger than I fully understand. Like, for instance, is it called Frax Chain or Fraxtal?
It's Fraxtal.
Fraxtal. Okay. That's a good starting point. Awesome. Okay. So maybe like walk us through this like high level of what Fraxtal is. And I guess like how Frax is kind of positioning themselves with this kind of longer term vision within DeFi with Fraxtal.
Yeah. So Fraxtal is a general purpose EVM equivalent L2 built on the OP stack. So, if you're deploying on like Base or deploying on Optimism, it's the same thing. And what really differentiates Fraxtal than everyone else is not only do you have, the Frax team, which are the incentive masters behind it and building on it, like seasoned DeFi vets and bringing that expertise to Fraxtal, but you have this new interesting incentive mechanism with the Flux mechanism that they're coming out with, which no other chain has. And I'm going to just get right into it. And so how the Frax team has been thinking about it is like, they've mastered incentives at the app chain level, at the application level, and like Curve ecosystem and in their own ecosystem. But now they're thinking about how do you do incentives at the chain rollup level? Like, how is this different? It's different than the app level. So like, how can we craft the right incentives in an automated way at the chain level? And so they do this through the Flux mechanism and Flux rank. The Flux mechanism and Flux rank takes a lot of inspiration from Google PageRank. And with Google PageRank, it's okay, the most linked to websites and the most visited websites, it's some algorithm. They put some numbers together and they go to the top of the search page or first page. That's it. With Flux rank, it's basically the most popular used smart contracts, and the most high value users will be awarded a Flux rank and receive Fraxtal points based on their ranking on a weekly basis. So think of it as a rolling airdrop. And this is a huge leap forward because until then, all the distribution of points have been arbitrary. It's all someone like deciding like, okay, this is like an epoch for 3 months. And if you do this like one thing, or if you do like these certain things, like you'll get points. And like, it's a lot of black box stuff in the background. As a user, you don't know how like points are exactly being distributed. But with the Flux rank, that it's based on 3 things. 1, what are like the highest used smart contracts? 2, do you have VEFXS for a boost? And 3, what are your asset alignment of like Frax and Frax ETH? What are you holding in your address? And all this is like put together to give you a Flux rank, and then you'll receive Fraxtal points on a weekly basis based on it. And just think about it. Like before we had like, things like the Arbitrum SIP incentives, which I think it's like a great program. And it's a great place to start, but I don't think and then you also have Optimism, you have the retroactive public goods, and it's all very arbitrary. Like all these things, what these things have in common, it's like people politicking to try to get their, allotment. That's the definition of politics. It's like, how do you distribute resources? And with DAOs, it's like, how do you distribute tokens for certain actions? And so and the thing is like, when it comes to politics, people feel like they got shafted. People think things are unfair. Things are not like the most efficient. So instead of devs having to focus on politicking to get tokens or points or whatever, they can just go and build the best possible applications on Fraxtal and receive a Frax rank and receive those Fraxtal points based on, the validity and based on like how good their smart contract is and how well and how much it's used.
I think we should like step back and maybe discuss like what are Fraxtal points? How will those convert into something that I guess provide real value to these people that are accruing them? Because right now that's still like a bit of a black box to me, but I don't know if that's like public or open knowledge yet.
Yeah, so in the docs, you can go to the docs.frax.com. They say like within 12 months, the Fraxtal points will be convertible into something redeemable and liquid, whether that's like a Fraxtal token or FXS or VEFXS. That's yet to be decided. That'll probably be decided by the community in a vote. That's going to take lots of discussion. And we'll see how, the roll-up is received. I think it's going to be a top 5 chain, like with the Flux. Because if you think about it with the Fraxtal points, if I'm a developer and I'm looking for the most high-value users, I can just see their Flux rank in there, how many Fraxtal points they have earned over the past however so amount of time. Be like, oh, like that's a power user. Not only am I going to airdrop to VEFXS holders, I'm going to airdrop to that power user based on their Flux rank.
I think the thing that stands out for me with this mechanism for earning points and then having those points translate to a token eventually is that the opportunity has not passed.
Oh no, it's just no, not at all. And we're just starting. If you're listening to this, you're early.
So my point in all of this is what you mentioned. It's still in front of us. There is a snapshot coming for March 6th, which I want to make sure we cover that. What's the significance of the snapshot, given that like there isn't some sort of retroactive reward here? Or I guess maybe there is.
On March 6th, there'll be a snapshot of everyone's VEFXS balances, which is how much FXS you have locked up for VEFXS tokens. So you can either right now, you can only lock up the tokens on mainnet. But if you want to wait, Fraxtal, right now it's in a guarded launch phase. It's not open to, certain dApps are deploying, but it's not fully open to users just yet. But soon, hopefully like in a week or two, we'll hear from the team. And you can just bridge over to Fraxtal and lock your tokens on there. But most important, it's very simple. All you have to do is lock FXS for VEFXS by March 6th. And then on that's when the snapshot is taken. And then on March 13th is the first distribution of Fraxtal points. And then after that, the script will be running for the Flux mechanism.
Can you clarify too, like, so I've seen some rumors out there that cvxFXS holders are also going to be included in the snapshot if they're staking?
Yes. So you must stake your cvxFXS in Convex to do that.
Is that available now, the staking cvxFXS, or is that something that's coming?
No, you can stake your cvxFXS in Convex and earn the yield.
Gotcha. Okay, so you can stake cvxFXS, or you can lock up VFXS. To clarify, there is VFXS that is not locked up. You do have to lock it here in order to participate, right? And what is the minimum or maximum locking times again for VFXS?
Whatever you want. So like the minimum time is a week, maximum time is 4 years.
And then this is where there's some advantage. This is why Convex is, so involved in Frax.
Yeah, so Convex automatically 4-year locks, and cvxFXS, think of it as like an FXS stablecoin.
I guess we'll find out based on what cut Convex would take, but I would imagine like folks who hold CVXFXS, they will likely have some sort of advantage versus the person who maybe wants to hold their own VFXS and lock it for a week or so. Yeah.
It all depends on the person's preferences. So, as long as you stake your FXS or VEFXS, or if you just want to stake CVXFXS in Convex, before March 6th, you'll get the snapshot taken. That's the important thing. March 6th.
Dave, do you envision there being airdrops to folks that are participating in this? Like, it sounds like a familiar mechanism that's been drawing a lot of attention this bull run.
Yeah, no, definitely. Not only airdrops, but something that you're going to see, which a few protocols have announced, is redistribution of smart contract protocol points to the users themselves. For example, Qidao, My Finance, came on Alpha Bytes, one of our programs at Flywheel the other day, and said, like, if you use Qidao on Fraxtal, you will receive extra Fraxtal points that's being redistributed from us, from our smart contract being used. And so you're seeing this positive flywheel being made with applications of the users in this regard. So not only will users get airdrops, and there are definitely a few in the works, whether it's with like meme coins or protocols themselves, but redistribution of points as well. I like to think of Fraxtal and Frax, but they're really good. They're really the builder's protocol, and Fraxtal is really the builder's chain. Frax has always had this positive sum attitude when it comes to building within DeFi and building within crypto. And that's the right way to go about it, because building in Web3 is all about open source and composability. It's the completely opposite thinking of Web2 and TradFi, which is like, oh, we want to build these like walled gardens and we want to have everything closed. Like, no, Frax understands like if you want to succeed in Web3, we all win together. We have to build together. And that's why there's a reason why Frax won, quote unquote, won the curve wars. And like, not only did they win the curve wars, but everyone that's working with Frax, whether they're stablecoins or volatile tokens, their liquidity is growing, their use is growing, because Frax is being that first user. They're really like holding it down. I don't know how else to describe, holding it down for the rest of DeFi, whether it's in the curve ecosystem or outside of curve. Always been very open with working with people, and they're going to bring that same ethos to Fraxtal. And Sam has always said, not only positive sum but long-term aligned. They're thinking years and years ahead in this regard. So
Maverick Protocol provides innovative liquidity solutions for token projects to customize, automate, and incentivize their liquidity with the highest efficiency in DeFi, all powered by Maverick AMM. Why has Maverick become the first choice for all kinds of token projects, from stablecoins to LRTs? As the first dynamic distribution AMM, Maverick AMM provides automated liquidity movement modes which move your liquidity to follow price, keeping it where it does the most good. This enables Maverick-powered pools to process higher volume with lower TVL requirements, and means that Maverick supports the highest capital efficiency for LRTs like WEETH. Maverick AMM also supports non-uniform liquidity distributions, making it easy to concentrate liquidity in shapes that fit each project's individual needs. Finally, Maverick boosted positions maximize incentive efficiency for protocols looking to bootstrap their token liquidity to precise strategic areas of a liquidity pool. Token communities like Lido, Aave, Swell, EtherFi, and KelpDAO have been bootstrapping TVL and maintaining PEG using Maverick tools. Ready to build liquidity with maximal efficiency? Go to app.mav.xyz/The Edge Podcast today.
Dave, what will be the gas token for Fraxtal? Is it FXS, or could it be ETH or something else?
It's FraxETH, actually.
Oh, wow. That I could have foreseen coming. Yeah. Explain more about that. Like, why do you think that is? Because I'm drawing upon things I've heard Sam say in interviews with us and with you guys through Flywheel, but what's the thinking behind that?
Well, FraxETH is the first gas token. In the future, I could see Frax being a gas token, even FXS into a Frax token, but right now it's just FraxETH, and it's really interesting seeing like all the building blocks that Frax has constructed in their internal ecosystem, whether it's FraxETH or other sub protocols like Fraxland, FraxSwap, and FraxFerry, you name it. Like, they're all coming to FraxChain, and they're all going to have use there. And FraxETH, people are familiar with ETH as a gas token already. It's ETH aligned. It makes sense. And this actually like helps boost the yields of sFraxETH, because this increases the monetary premium of FraxETH because it's being used as a gas token here.
Yeah, very cool. I just couldn't get myself off mute there. So something else I just wanted to ask, like, can you name any projects that you know of that are building on Fraxtal, like any kind of alpha you can drop there?
Oh yeah, there's a few. There's definitely a few. We have, like I said, like Cheetah, I said earlier, like a stablecoin. I can see like Frax being the stablecoin chain. You're gonna see Frax core infrastructure like Curve and Convex on there. Axelar is gonna be on there, helping us with bridging, interchain messaging, all that fun stuff. You're gonna have Ra, shout out North from Ra, the Ramses guys. They were the first to announce to be building on Fraxtal. They're this cool, VE33 exchange. They're bringing concentrated liquidity to Fraxtal. You see a few meme coins launching. You have RWA, real world abs, and then you have this really funny meme coin called Aurora, which is kind of like takes the shit posting bear ironic energy of the Frax Finance trading group Telegram group and like making it into a meme coin. So that's really funny. But like, I think I like seeing organic everybody like building on Fraxtal like wants to be there, and they understand how the Frax is thinking long-term vision-wise. They understand the vision. They understand how Frax is going to help both at the chain level and at the application level. So those are a few projects I'm building. There's more to be announced soon. We're working on a graphic at Flywheel, getting all the projects together. So you're going to see that in the future.
Hey, Dave, to go back to March 6th as the snapshot and these epochs that will be 1 week long starting on March 6th. I just want to clarify a few of the mechanics. Like if I don't stake VFXS
or cvxFXS, yeah.
And let's say I enter like a few days later, can I still qualify for that epoch, or do I have to be in?
For the March 13th one, yeah, but like I said, it's weekly, so you can stake, after March 6th and still get it. You just won't get the March 13th one. You'll get the March 20th one and the one after that.
Okay, yeah. So if you're not in, let's say like we're in Epoch 2 starting on, I think, March 13th. If I'm not in then, do I miss that whole epoch again and I've got to get in there before the next 7-day period?
It's rolling. So just get in before. You can just get in before whenever the snapshot is on a weekly basis. It's like, okay, this is all the activity here, epoch ends, and then it's a weekly snapshot.
Dave, I feel like we've kind of danced around all of the ways that FXS will be used and why it's valuable and how it might accrue value. But can you help me to just understand this more from a left curve perspective? Why will it be valuable? Why do you hold FXS?
Not financial advice. FXS, and this is what the team has said, FXS is king. At the end of the day, if you're hesitant about points, you're not sure where they're going to turn into. It's all about FXS at the end of the day. So just take FXS. The points will be redeemable for something liquid in the future, whatever the FXS community decides. And on top of that, the CR is closing in at 100%. I'm not sure if you guys have seen, we're at 97% now, and with the market going as it is, we should see it cross 100% pretty soon. And right now, all the yield, Frax makes about $75,000 a day for all its on-chain activities, and that's all being used to pay up the CR, to buy up the CR ratio to get it to 100%. Once we hit 100%, all that money is going to VEFXS holders. So on top of all those points that you're getting real yield on top of that. Points, on top of the points, potential airdrops, all the activities you're doing on Fraxtal, you're getting real yield from, all the protocol activities that they're doing. And I think that's going to really unlock, people, that's going to really unlock and show what FXS is truly worth. Because right now it's a bit, people don't really see that just yet. Does that make sense?
I'm just going to reiterate one thing just to make sure people understand what you're talking about with CR. So that's the collateral ratio. And for a long time, Frax has been slightly under collateralized, and you're using the fee revenues of the protocol to bring it back up to full collateralization. And then once that's hit, all those fees are going to be passed through to VFX holders, I believe. Is that?
Yeah. So this is a remnant from the beginning of the protocol when it was merely just a hybrid algo stablecoin, when it was just a hybrid dollar stablecoin. It's amazing how far we've come since then. But before it was a hybrid algorithmic stablecoin. At the beginning of last year, there was a proposal to get the CR to 100%. It was approved. So the CR has been working to go up to 100% ever since. It was shown that, the hybrid model of endogenous collateral wasn't the ideal form. And so we've been working our ways to get up there. It's still, fractional in the sense that of all the AMOs that make up the backing of Frax. But, once it hits 100% CR, there's just be no FXS. There's only a little bit of FXS backing it, but soon that won't be there.
Dave, can we just quickly muse on kind of what fee pass-through could look like in a 100% CR world? What are we expecting as maybe people that are thinking of getting into VFXS? Obviously this is impossible to, nail.
Yeah, it depends on your boost that you put in. Because if you put a 4-year boost, you're gonna get a higher collateral, a higher APR. But it could be anywhere from 9% to 37%. And I'm just throwing numbers out there. It depends on your boost. but that's all in real yield, and that's all going to a bull market. So, we'll see where those numbers go.
Dave, I think a good final question for us is, how do you summarize the end game for Fraxtal?
Frax is the issuer for the most important assets of the 21st century. So that's Frax the dollar stablecoin, Frax ETH, the ETH peg stablecoin, FPI, CPI peg stablecoin, soon to be FRX BTC. Whatever is the most important assets of the 21st century, Frax is the M2 issuer of those assets. And Frax is building the underlying infrastructure to support those assets. And that's exactly why Fraxtal is being built. Think of it as, why did Amazon build AWS? They were just selling books. Well, they needed to build the servers to create the ultimate superstore, basically. And so I see a world of, hundreds, if not thousands of Fraxtals. And if you're with all these app chains and L2s and whatnot coming out, if they're going to want a native stablecoin, native ETH, and native ETH on their chain, they're going to all become Fraxtal.
I want to then remind our listeners that they should first go to flywheeldefi.com. That's the best place for you to enjoy more of Dave's content, including the Flywheel DeFi podcast. And then they should also follow you on Twitter. It's
I'm DeFi Dave 22.
DeFi Dave 22. There we go. And then, Dave, just want to give you the final word here. Anything else you'd recommend for folks that want to get involved with Flywheel, and then more importantly with Frax Finance?
Yeah, if you want to get involved with Flywheel, have any questions, go down to our Telegram group, join it at Flywheel DeFi. We're hanging in there. If you want to follow us on Twitter at Flywheel DeFi. We're also on TikTok, Flywheel DeFi, YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube for all our alpha, Flywheel DeFi. If you want to go follow us on Forecaster, we're at Flywheel. We got at Flywheel, which is pretty cool. And I'm at DeFi Dave on Flywheel. If you want to learn more about Frax, join the Frax Finance Telegram group. Follow Frax Finance on Twitter. I'm in there as well. If you have any questions, just hit us up.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. If you're a talented founder or developer, please consider reaching out to our team at fourthrevolution.capital. And for future episodes of the Edge podcast, please check out our link tree at edge_pod.